I see. Okay, so it's only prisoner that we have here. Right. So for today we'll walk you through the first chapter of your. I see Tracy. Tracy, I'm not sure I'm supervising you or Prof. Watson is supervising you. If you can speak, who is supervising you? Who particularly is supervising you? If you can't speak,
Sorry,
you can put it in the chat.
sorry.
Hello.
It was a mistake, please.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
Hello.
Yes, that's fine. Let's proceed. Okay, so um we'll walk you through how to go about your first chapter. Um, I would also be using some of the experiences that we've had over the course of our supervision. Um, that is a cause of worry that we need to pay attention to. So whilst we progress, I'll be pointing out some of the issues that we've had over the semester. I mean, when you were on vacation and people were sending their works for supervision, so that you pay close attention to those. Now, when you begin your work, note that the work that you are going to write is in three different formatting phases. When I say formatting, it doesn't have to do with how you write your work, but how you present your work. So there's a page that you don't number at all. And that page is the first page that you are seeing here. This page and the second page of this first phase of the formatting, you don't number these pages at all. So note that there are no numbering at the bottom here. Okay. So the first one has the University of Ghana College of Humanities, University of Ghana Business School at the top. Then your title, as I have highlighted here. Okay. And then you have your name. Make sure you have your first name first. That's why it's the first name. And then your surname follows. If you have middle names, you can insert them there. There's a funny way some of us present our names, example, myself, but please pay attention to how you present your names here. Your first name comes. If you have middle names, you bring them, and then your surname comes. Then departments of operations and management information systems. If you are using the templates from a different department, please make sure you change the department's name. And I'm sure you all have these templates, so I shouldn't worry much about it. But please pay attention to it that you need to have the department. There was a student I supervised, and the student had printed, bound the work and everything, submitted the work, and later the secretary called me that the students didn't write the name of the department. She wrote HRM. Our school has HRM instead of OHRM. So the students wrote HRM on the spine of the book. Okay, instead of the name of her department, she wrote HRM. So please pay attention to all this. You have the month that you are ending your projects. We are the month of May. If you are submitting your projects in the month of September, in the month of October, you need to have the name, the month, and then the year over there. Then on the second page, pay attention to how different this is. You have University of Ghana, University of College of Humanities, University of Ghana Business School, same as we had on the first page. Then you have the title again, the name, and then now you have your index number right after your name. Okay. Now I'll open the floor for questions. So then you have this declaration here. A project work submitted to the Department of Operations and Management Information Systems, University of Ghana Business School, University of Ghana, Legon, in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the award of an MSc Business Analytics. Then you choose whether your program is weekend or sandwich. Okay, so you delete the one that doesn't apply to you. In this case, let's assume you are doing weekend. So we take out the sandwich and then leave the weekend there. Okay. Then you have the name of the department down there. And then the the month and then the year. Okay. Please, does anyone have a question on the first two preliminary pages? The pages that we do not number. Does anyone have a question there? Ives, you are writing something I doubt applies to what we are doing in the chat room, unless it's directed to us. Does anyone have a question?
Those of you who
Oh,
are watching football at the same time we are doing this presentation, please be careful. If you come back and you come and ask something, she won't mind you. And if you call your name and you don't answer, it will also have its own um, repercussions. You can fail seminars. People have failed seminar before. And when you fail seminar, you can't resit. You come back again and come and do the semester.
okay. In the absence of questions, we'll move on to the second phase of the formatting, where you have your pages numbered in Roman numerals. So you can see Roman numeral I, you have I, you have I, and so on. So this page starts with the declaration, where you state whether the work was copied from somewhere, you copied from Google or wherever you copied from. But in this instance, you are doing the work yourself. So you declare that this work is the result of your own hard work. Okay. And on this page, you sign with your student's ID and then the date that you are signing and your name, just as you presented on the cover page. And then the supervisor would also sign and then the dates that the supervisor is signing. Okay, so the declaration page has the signing page included. Okay, initially we had them separated, but now we have both on the same page. So you declare, you sign, and then the supervisor will sign. Okay, now after the declaration, you have the abstracts. Some people like to write the abstract as they write the work. So for example, they write chapter 1 and they come and put something small for the abstracts. Then they write chapter 2, come and put something small for chapter 2's abstract. Okay. And at the end of chapter 4 or 5, when they are done, sorry, 5 or 6 when they are done, they come and massage the abstract to reflect what they have done in the work. Usually we write the abstracts when we are done with the work, but people like to put in order not to lose their thoughts, they like to put a few things down whilst they write they go through the writing phase. And so the abstract is supposed to summarize the whole thing that you have done, the write-up that you have done, the project that you have done. It summarizes the whole thing. We'll go through abstracts when we move forward. Then you have dedication. So dedication, who are you dedicating the work to? I remember when I was doing my MPhil, I dedicated the work to my mother. My PhD, I dedicated to my wife and children. So please know who you are dedicating the work to. If you are dedicating to a boyfriend or a girlfriend and the person leaves you after the work, it will remain there forever. So then acknowledgements. Acknowledgements are different from dedication. So you can't dedicate the work to all those who helped you along the way. So you need to mention all those that helped you along the way in your acknowledgements. So you may also acknowledge the people, your data sources, those who gave you data and all those things. You can acknowledge all of them here. Those, please don't mention ChatGPT here. Don't mention Google Scholar and all those things here. Acknowledge those who genuinely helped you do the work. And then table of contents. There are several ways you can generate your table of contents electronically, but that's not our focus for today. So maybe later we would find a way of doing that. So anything that you have in the work, for example, these are header ones. Okay. Header ones are the main headers where you have, for example, list of figures here. It's a header. So you can see list of figures representing here. Okay. Then you have header 2, which is where you have 1.1. So that is header 2. When you have header 3, that will be 1.1.1. But in this instance, we shouldn't be having 1.1.1 in the first chapter. Okay. So by order of presentation that you have in your work, everything should show in your in your table of contents. Then after table of content, we have list of figures, we have list of tables, list of abbreviations. If you used any form of abbreviation or um, abbreviation and acronyms, any of them that you use in the work, you need to define them here. So WHO, which is an acronym, we have World Health Organization. If you are using an abbreviation, UG, University of Ghana, okay, you need to indicate all those over here. Then after that, you go to the third phase where you use plain figures. So you have figure 1 as they appear, figure 2 as they appear, figure 3 as they appear. So you notice that we've had a page that does not have numbering, which are the cover pages. Then we had the pages that had Roman numerals, which are the preliminary pages. And then we have the main page, the core content of the pages that have the core content of the work, which are labeled in plain numbers. Okay, so these are the three phases of the formatting that you would have to pay attention to. Any question, please? Oh, someone said I should speak louder. Sorry, I didn't see that. Any question, please? Any question? Please, if you have any question, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. Any question?
Doc,
Yes, please.
so I don't know, but are you going to go into details about how the introduction is going to be and all that?
Yes, we are
Or
going
how we get like our project background and all that?
to do that right now.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes. We just wanted to lay the foundation as to how you format your work, because if you leave all these things and you finish the work, it becomes an issue. So we need to settle all this before we go into the work. Please, any other? Okay. It seems we are on the same page. Selassie, I believe you can hear me now. The one who put the notice in there.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So when you go to the first page of your core content, okay, it is structured such that you begin from 1.1, but before you begin from 1.1, you should have the header 1, which is the chapter 1, and then the introduction on separate lines. Okay. Now, according to the University Graduate Handbook, this header 1 is supposed to be 14 points, not 11 as you have it here. So the font size should be 14 points, not as we had it. That was a mistake. Okay, so the chapter header, which is the header 1, should be 14 points. Okay. Now, if you are able to format it like this, so you have chapter 1, introduction, you have 14, you have Times New Roman. You can quickly right-click on one of these. So you can see I have heading 1 here. Right-click on it like that, and then update this. So automatically you have stored it here, like you are storing somebody's number on your phone so that you can quickly redial. Okay, you have stored it here. And then when you go to chapter 2, you can quickly go and change chapter 2 literature review and then put it there like that, and it will automatically appear. Okay, and when you do this, it will automatically also appear in your table of contents, which we'll look at later. So our focus for today is on the chapter 1. Let's focus on that, and then later when we are focusing on formatting, we'll come back to this. Now, your chapter 1 starts from 1.1, project's background. Now, when you begin your work, okay, make sure you know the area that you are going to, that will be addressed in research methods course. Hey, somebody is typing something. Somebody's typing something in the chat. I'm not sure it applies to us here. Or oh, okay. Formatting will be addressed in your research methods course. Okay, thank you. All right. So let's continue. Thank you so much. The name is Baby Butterfly. Okay, thank you.
Grant,
So
Are you now doing the research methods? Or you did last semester?
Prof, we are now doing it.
Okay, there's going to be Dr. Beku is part of the vote teaching you.
Yes, please.
Okay, then he's part of
I think Dr. Ohenia Sari is the one taking us for research methods.
okay. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. What we are trying to do is to give you generic direction. Your supervisors and maybe your research method lecturers may give you other direction, but whatever it is, your supervisor is the one who has the foremost, the final say on how your work is done. But some of the things are graduate school requirements. That's why Dr. Nee he keeps on mentioning graduate school says this, graduate school says that. So irrespective of your supervisor, the font size and all this is graduate school. And it's not every lecturer who knows it. So they tell you everything is acceptable, but it's not acceptable according to graduate school. Do you understand it? Because there's a graduate handbook that explains why some of these things are supposed to be at this font or this size. Okay. You please can continue.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, so we are starting from 1.1, project background. Like I was saying, you need to know the area that you are working on. In this instance, our title is telling us that detecting cyber hygiene compliance and enhancing employee cyber safety, a data-driven approach to organizational security. Okay, so you need to have this in mind, and when you are writing your work, you can't be talking about cyber hygiene as your title and be talking about something else in your background. There have been instances that students have used grandpapa, and so when you are being guided as to how to go about your topic, you insist that no, I want a topic in this particular area because you have a grandpapa, and you end up bringing areas that are not even related to the work that you are doing because you have copied an old thesis sitting somewhere. Please, if you are talking about cybersecurity, cyber hygiene, and compliance, make sure that is the area that you are discussing in your project background. Now, please, one issue that we have had in our supervision is that students start from 1.1 and then here they write introduction like this. Please, this is wrong because the whole chapter 1 is introduction. Okay, the whole of the chapter 1 is considered the introduction or the introductory part of your work. And so there's no need to have introduction again as your 1.1. This part is project background in this instance. Please, I believe nobody will go and repeat this mistake. The 1.1 is the project background, which captures the area, the understanding behind the area of the work that you are doing. And so there's an approach that I learned from Prof when I was in my MPhil, which is the funnel approach. That's the simplest way to go when you are writing your background. You take the area that you are writing generally from the global perspective. Okay, from the global perspective, what is happening across the globe? What is happening worldwide in relation to cyber hygiene, cyber security, and compliance? In this area or in this particular section of the funnel, you give the background, including the statistics that have been given, okay, in relation to the area. Sometimes the simplest or the easiest way to go is to go to Statista and then pull out some statistics that are related to the area and then put it there. But please don't just be putting things there without ensuring that they are accurate or apply to the area that you are looking at. Now, sometimes the area that you are looking at may involve statistical numbers. Sometimes the area that you are looking at may involve financial figures. These are two different things. If you are looking at, for example, cyber fraud, romance fraud, and things like that, it is good, or it comes it comes presentable when you are presenting the statistics in terms of the monetary value, what is lost in terms of romance fraud and things like that. Sometimes you are looking at numbers, okay? So in this instance, the cyber hygienic thing that we are looking at, then it becomes so presentable to use the statistical figures. So 74% of data compromise incidents and all those things. So please look at all these things and how you would want to present it. Okay. So we have looked at the first layer of the funnel where you look at it from the global perspective. And so let's try and read a few sections of the background. In today's digital landscape, organizations face an ever-growing array of cyber threats from phishing attacks and malware. So this is giving a general overview of what the area is about. Okay. It went on to provide the statistics as I mentioned. Okay. Mentioning 74% of data compromise and all those things. Coming from InfoSec Institute 2024. Another thing that we always come across when we are supervising students is that your first reference or your first citation matters. If you are writing a work in 2025 and your first citation is from like 1997, 2010, 2009, things like that, it becomes a problem to us. Because in between that, what has happened? In between the period you are writing the work and the citation that you are bringing, okay, what has happened? Okay, doesn't mean nothing has happened between the periods. No. So be current in your citation. Someone may ask, how current should I be? So the answer to this would be usually I would prefer that you don't go below or earlier than possibly 4 years. Some may decide to do 5 years, depending on the topic that you are looking at. Some topics are recurring, like the cyber hygiene thing you are looking at. It's a recurring topic. It's a topic and it's an evolving topic. And so every year there are issues about cyber security issues and all things like that. So I wouldn't like it when you are writing something around this. And okay, Silas, your hand is up.
Yeah, Doc. Like you mentioned, the first citation is more important to you. So I wanted to find out what you are working on is a limited space where people have not really written or done any research on that. What happens in that space?
Usually when students talk about this, you see, that's the fallback plan for students. So I also have my fallback plan and ask what is the topic so that we can all deliberate on it now.
Well, I'm not speaking
Fallback, I'm
about
being fair to you.
my topic. I'm just saying that um what if maybe because I remember during vacation one of our colleagues contacted me that he wasn't really getting any information on the internet regarding his uh project's longest stay topic. That's why I'm asking that.
Okay. Um, you see, like I was saying, we all have our fallback plans. So your fallback plan is that nothing has been done, and so you go to 1997. I'm not picking on you. Sorry, okay, if it seems like. And also my fallback plan is that you two, what are you working on? Now, the course you are doing, everybody will tell you that this is the hot cake on the market. Okay. Doesn't mean nothing has been done in any of the areas that you guys are working on. No, no. Even the AI war that is currently ongoing, where somebody says you have to pay, somebody says no, you don't have to pay for AI platforms and things like that. If you begin writing right now, you find papers on them, you find statistics on all those. It depends on how you present your work. Selassie, I hope I've answered your question.
It also depends on how they are searching.
Yes, Prof.
Then you have to teach us how to search so that we don't go back to 1976.
But you told me you are doing research methods. Go and tell him to teach you.
Selassie,
Yes, yes, Doc.
it is well.
Prof, the research methods, we've not started ours yet. So we are yet to see what the curriculum holds for us as well.
Okay, so these are some of the issues you can raise in the.
If I can come in.
Okay, Doc.
So, Salasi, it is expected that at this point, all of you have presented your proposal to your supervisors, though you are yet to start the research methods class. So, if you are having a challenge, the supervisors also play a role in helping you appreciate some of these things. So, just like Prof is just giving it to you straight away, it will be in your process of learning the UGBS 602, MSBA, 607. Some of the issues will be addressed. Our focus on the seminar is to help you, is to guide you. So you should find ways to, some of these things, the person whose topic cannot be, you can't find topics. Maybe you are not looking how to perhaps do the literature search well. That will be addressed along the line. But the supervisors also play a critical role so that we don't end up losing the focus of we guiding here at this stage to develop a robust long essay in terms of structure, in terms of guidelines. We don't end up teaching you the course when somebody else has been asked to teach. So link up with the supervisor if you have a challenge. Then also during the research methods class, you ask questions to address the concern, which I think generally will factor into what we are also doing at this stage. Okay, so Nee, thank you. You can continue.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I didn't know you were the one with the butterfly. I was just looking for that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so from the global perspective, okay, you narrow it down to, this is something that I learned from Prof, like I indicated earlier. You narrow it down to Africa if your work is related to happenings within the space. Okay, narrow it down to Africa, what is happening in other countries. So you can mention let's put it this way, the African giants. So let's talk about tech. You are talking about, let's say, Kenya, you are talking about Nigeria. You can go up there to Egypt, Morocco, you can go South Africa and all those. So what is happening around those areas? Okay. Narrowing all the way down to then Ghana, where you are working on, okay, where your work is focusing on. Okay. But make sure that you have evidence to back anything you say in this instance. Whatever you say in your introduction, whatever claim you make, you have evidence to back them. When I say evidence, is the literature that you search and then use them to back whatever you say. So whatever illustration you give, make sure whatever illustration you give or claims that you make sure there is evidence to that effect. Okay. Now, you are also supposed to subtly mention the problem within the background. Okay, so that this can link you directly into your project problem or your problem statement as it is stated here. Okay, so don't go straight into telling us what the problem is within the background, but simply mention it. And then when you go to your problem statement, everyone reading the work knows that, oh, at least I've seen something like that within the context of the background, and that this one doesn't sound different to me here. Now, there's a mistake here. The problem statement is 1.2, not 1.1. So again, we have 1.1 project background and then 1.2 problem statement. If you have any question on the the project background, you may ask. You can also put it in the chat if the name is Selassie. Selassie, it seems you are the only one in the class. The others, please, can you hear us before we? Please, if anyone can hear us, just tell us so that we
Yes,
are.
we can hear you. Yes,
Oh,
please, we can hear you.
You should engage them. Call their names and ask them questions directly. If they don't answer, we kick them out of the room.
okay, Prof. Selassie, please go ahead.
So Doc, with the project background, is there supposed to be like a limit or the least you can write, like in terms of words, or
Okay. So,
you can write maybe a half page or 2 page or something.
okay. So, in your work that you are doing, we have been, we have an indication that the work is not supposed to be less than 60 pages. I'm trying to look for the main templates. It's not supposed to be less than 60 pages. So you have to be measured in how you present your work. Please, I'm trying to find it for you. For the MPhils and the MBAs, usually I tell them to write about 500, between 400 and 500. Okay. So since yours is not supposed to be less than 60 pages, that means it can be 80, it can be 90. I think you should measure it in how you write it. Okay, so the first chapter, if you can see my screen, I don't know if the highlighted page is showing. Please, can you see?
It's showing the word, the project work.
Okay, then let me rather share that part for you. I believe you can see it now.
Yes, please.
Okay. So spacing, double spacing, font size 12, font style, Times New Roman, and justify your formatting. Pages should be at least 7 pages for the first chapter. Okay. Then the entire project must exceed 60 pages. That was what I was mentioning. Please, are you on the same page?
Yes, Doc.
Please.
Okay. Iris is asking at which point is it important to mention the research gap. So we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Please, that's example. It will come in the project's background. Samuel, I'll address that question shortly. So Iris and Samuel, I'll address your questions shortly. Okay. So let's go back to the where is it? The guide. Okay. So at what point should the research gap come in? Now, your research gaps are presented in elaborated forms in the research, the problem statements. So if you have 3 gaps that you are looking at, you present them in the problem statement. Okay, is that okay? So you elaborate the gaps may be just one statement, but what are the flesh surrounding the gap? That's what you present in your problem statement. Please, does etal come in the sorry, does example etal come in the project's background? Etal is a referencing issue. That is when you are referencing a material that was authored or that is authored by more than 2 people. So etal means Italia. Italia is like an others. So what's in etal means Watson wrote the paper with Bano and Sam Edu. Okay. That means there are 3 people who wrote the paper. But if it were to be just 2 people, maybe Watson and Bano, you mentioned both of them. So it is just a referencing guide. So as to whether the material you are referencing was written by more than 2 people. Okay, we'll look at some of these. The guide, I think we presented a guide. Okay, the guide is here. The referencing guide as to how you'd go about your referencing. So when we share the material with you, you can look at it. Samuel Watson, please, I hope you've been answered. So etal can come in any part of the work, provided you are referencing a material that is authored by more than 2 people. Samuel, please, is that okay? Okay, thank you. Right. Now, your problem statement, like I indicated, must consider the gaps that you are looking at. So usually when I'm supervising my students, if you have 3 gaps, I expect you to have you cannot just come into the problem statement and then jump into presenting your gaps. You need to give us a background and introduction of the section you are writing. Sometimes students will write 1.2 problem statement, 1.2.1, then gap 1. No, please don't do that. If you write 1.2 problem statement, please give us a brief background of the section that you are writing. Okay, like the book of Psalms, Psalm 1, Psalm 1, then it will give you the psalm written to these people. Okay, at least tell us that this is what we are going to do here, so that when you are writing your first gap, we know that, oh, you've given us a background as to what we are to expect in this instance. Secondly, the gaps are not formulated in isolation. The gaps must be coming from somewhere. Some of your gaps may be coming from industry. Tell us where exactly the gaps are coming from. What is the problem? Okay. And so when you have a gap, for example, let's see, many organizations attempt to address cybersecurity risks through training programs, yet the effectiveness of this initiative remain questionable. Okay. Studies indicate that traditional cybersecurity training often fails to drive behavioral change as employees revert to unsafe cyber practices over time. Like I indicated to you, every claim that you make here must be substantiated. Every claim, Silas, I'll address your question shortly. Every claim that you make here, every illustration that you make, every claim that you make must have a substantiating evidence to that effect. Okay, so we provided a gap and then told you that studies indicate that traditional cybersecurity training often fails to drive behavioral change as employees revert to unsafe cyber practices over time. Moreover, organizations lack data-driven frameworks to measure individual compliance with cyber hygiene best practices, making it difficult to identify at-risk employees and implement targeted intervention. Splunk 2023. Now, without continuous monitoring, employees who neglect security protocols may unknowingly expose their organization to cyber threats. That is one part of the problem written. Then we go to the next one. So like I indicated, if you have 3 gaps, let's have 4 paragraphs. First paragraph introducing the area or the section, and then paragraph 2, gap 1, paragraph 3, gap 2, paragraph 4, gap 3. Okay. Please, are the gaps same as project questions? Not necessarily. It is from the these are hardcore research questions. It is from the presentation of your problem that we can derive your questions. Okay, so you notice that the gaps that we have here would then be translated into what we call purpose. So here we have purpose of the project. Again, this is supposed to be 1.3, not 1.1. Purpose of the project, which others may call overall objective, overarching objective. That's what others call it. But the template we have is the purpose of the project. So when you put all the gaps together, all the problems that you have written together, what are you going to do or what are you going to research on? What is your project about? So when you're going to write your purpose of the project, ask yourself, what is my project about? What is my project going to do? And so in this instance, this study aims to assess employee cyber hygiene behaviors and develop a predictive framework for detecting cybersecurity risk. Okay, you can end here, but some people may decide to go an extra mile by analyzing cyber awareness training and effectiveness and policy compliance. This or the research will provide insights to strengthen corporate cybersecurity strategies, enhance employees' security practices, and reduce human-related cyber vulnerabilities in organizational environments. So that is your purpose. What is this work going to do? What am I going to achieve at the end of this work? Please, any question up to this point? I will mention names. So please, if you're watching football, pause. Any question up to this point?
Oh, Ni, please, you can go ahead. Since this one is the first introductory session,
Okay.
after we finish, we will close, may even close early. So just go ahead and then finish it.
Okay, Prof. Dr. Abinego, please, if you have any interjections to please, you can come in and do that for us. So there's a question, Hives. Can a gap be again highlighted in the limits if the work did not be able to cover it? Yes, it can be presented as a pointer for future research. That will come at the end of the work. That's the final chapter. Yes. Now, so after presenting your, I hope I've answered your question. And Selassie, the questions you put there, I hope we have answered them. Okay, thank you. Then, after the project purpose, you then come to your project objective. Now, you have a broad objective. That was what we call the project purpose. But when you break the objective into pieces, what do you get? Are you getting it? I want to go to I'm around Kolebu. I want to go to 37. Okay. I want to go to 37 using my motorcycle. I want to go to 37 using a bus. I want to go to 37 using maybe Okada or Abubuya. Okay. All driving at going to 37. So now look at the project objective and then break them down into pieces. First of all, what is in the project, the overall purpose. Okay. What is there that I can look at independently or individually? Okay. Now, when you look at it carefully, we have the first one here, examine the effectiveness of cybersecurity training program in improving employee compliance with security best practices. That is the first part that we are looking at. Then the second part is you can decide to evaluate, explore, determine, or describe. Okay, depending on what exactly you want to do. Okay, you can choose any of these to go by. So evaluate the relationship between employee cyber hygiene behaviors and the likelihood of security incidents such as phishing attacks and data breaches. So you can decide on which one you want to do, or better still, what your variables are pointing at, and then choose one of these to go with. Okay. Now, after the project objectives, breaking the aim or the purpose into bits. Now, how can we convert the objectives into questions? When we flip the objectives over, we would have questions to ask. So, for example, look at this carefully. The one highlighted here. I want to highlight it for you. So the one highlighted here, the blue one, and then the one highlighted here, the first objective, and then the first question. Pay attention to them. The first objective is that examine the effectiveness of cybersecurity training programs in improving employee compliance with security best practices. Then the question is, how effective are cybersecurity training programs in enhancing employee compliance with security best practices? Please, what is the difference here? What is the difference here? Anybody to help? Just one person to help us. What do you see here? I feel lonely in the class. Let me hear your voice. What do you see here? Hey, okay, let me continue. So, okay, the objective becomes a question. Yes, when you turn the objective over, or you convert the objective into a question. So objective was examine the effectiveness of cybersecurity training programs in improving employee compliance with security best practices. Then we turn it over and make it a question. How effective are cybersecurity training programs in enhancing employee compliance with security best practices? Then we go to the second one. Evaluate the relationship between employee cyber hygiene behaviors and the likelihood of security incidents such as phishing attacks and data breaches. What is the relationship between employee cyber hygiene behaviors and the likelihood of security incidents such as phishing attacks and data breaches? Okay, so when you flip the objective over, you have your research question. Please, I've had an incident where students are referencing people or authors in the objectives and questions. Please, in these sections, you do not need to reference anybody. These are things that you are going to do on your own. And so there's no need to reference anybody here. Okay, so pay attention to that. Now, the next point, which is 1.6. 1.6 will be significance of the study. Now, significance of the study of the project. Look at it in this way. What is the importance of my work when someone from industry picks the work and reads it? What is the importance of my work when someone who practices cybersecurity or someone who uses computers in an institution picks my work and reads it? What is the importance of my work when somebody who is interested in researching on cybersecurity and best practices pick my work and reads it? Okay, and so look at the importance of your work in these three folds. Some people may have more than the three folds that I've mentioned. Some people can decide to even break the best practices, or sorry, the importance of the work to practice into different folds. The importance of your work to people who use data or who work with data in an organization, which are the users. Some people may decide to break it further to those who make policy for those who use data or use computer systems in an institution to practice cyber hygiene and all those. So look at the importance of your work in multiple folds, but most importantly, look at how important your work would be to possibly someone who is interested in researching or furthering the cyber hygiene research. That is one. And another one, or people who are within the space of cyber hygiene research. And then secondly, those who practice cybersecurity, okay, those who use systems, who are supposed to know about cyber hygiene. So you can look at users, you can look at developers, you can look at people who even develop policies for these people. Okay. Now, somebody can even go as far as mentioning that even the government of Ghana and mention the Ministry of Information, and I think they now have a certain other name attached to it, and digital innovation or something like that. How the work will be important to such an institution. Some people can go as far as writing that. Okay, so look at all this. So again, here too, if you have three folds that you are looking at in terms of the importance of your work, I expect that you have three different sections, paragraphs for that. Don't sectionize this. You have 1.6. First paragraph, importance of my work to research. Second paragraph, importance of my work to practice. Third paragraph, importance of my work to policy. Some people may decide to write on the first line, this research is significant in three folds. Or this project, sorry, is important or significant in three folds. Research, practice, and policy. Then the first one may take research, the second one may take practice, the third one may take policy. Okay. Now, the next section will be 1.7. 1.7, organization of the project. The work that you are going to write, the project that you are going to write, how are you going to present each chapter? Okay, what is contained in each chapter? I've had a student who, I don't want to show people's work here, but I've had a student who brought me the work and 1.7, research organization of the thesis. Chapter 1, introduction, full stop. Chapter 2, literature review, full stop. Chapter 3, methodology, full stop. Please don't do that. I'll come to your question. Okay, don't do that. What you have to do is that you present what is in chapter 1. Chapter 1, first paragraph. This project is structured in 5 chapters, each addressing a key aspect of the project. That's your preamble. Chapter 1 introduces the research by providing background information, which we have looked at. At least you can see what we have done so far. The background information, which we have looked at, that was a 1.1. Stating the problem, that was a 1.2. Outlining the purpose and objectives, that was 1.3, 1.4. Formulating the research questions, 1.5. And highlighting the significance of the study, that was 1.6. And here is 1.7, that's the organization of the chapter. Okay. It also presents the organization of the chapter of the project to guide the reader through the study structure. Some people may decide to do away with this, which is fine, but to tell everybody that you did the work, you know what you did, you can also leave it there. Okay. Then chapter 2, what happened in chapter 2? Chapter 3, what happens there? Chapter 4, what happens there? And then chapter 5, what happens there? Now, one important thing that we often ignore. Sorry, let me address Irish question. Look, I want to know the difference between significance of the study of the work in the introduction and the implication of the work in the conclusion. Are we recommended to copy the significance highlighted in the introduction while we are showing the contribution of the work in the conclusion? The one that you write in the conclusion would have will be informed by the analysis that you have done, the data you have collected, and analysis that you have done. Okay, so let me put it loosely and say that the one that you write in the introduction is more like a forecast. Okay, while the one that you write in the conclusion is based on evidence of analysis that you have conducted. I hope you are okay.